Good morning from my part of the world. Good afternoon and evening in others, I believe. I am just going to give it a few minutes to make sure that it's coming through on your end and give people some time to join, because I know there was a bit of confusion about time zones this morning. So if you are out there and you can hear me, please give me a comment, shower me with love hearts, do whatever it is that you want to do to let me know that you're here. I would be most appreciative. I can see that there's someone there. Can you hear me all right? Okay, I'm just going to assume that you can hear me. Okay, beautiful. Okay, welcome to this masterclass on how to use storytelling to stand out from the crowd. And we all know how important that is, especially online today with all of the noise that is out there. Now, who am I and why the heck should you care? My name is Taryn Reeves. I am the CEO and founder of Four Eagles Publishing and the publishing house Concierge. I am a USA Today bestselling author. I am a book coach, publisher, and speaker. And I work with high-level entrepreneurs to create best-selling books that grow their businesses. So I support from writing to publishing to marketing books and everything in between. So welcome everybody. I'm so glad to have been invited here by Amy. Amy, thank you so much for having me. This is such a beautiful group that you have created and are sharing your expertise in. So thank you so much for inviting me here today. I'm thrilled to be here. So why is storytelling such a powerful medium? It is one of the only things, I believe, one of the few things that us humans have not tried to do away with, improve, make better, tinker with throughout the ages. It has been one of the longest standing forms of communication in history. So whether we were scribing things on rocks, carving them into rocks, painting them onto rocks, onto hides, onto papyrus, onto trees, sitting around campfires and sharing things there. Storytelling is how people learn, how traditions are passed down through the ages, beliefs, religions, family lineages, all of that is passed down through storytelling. And storytelling is one of the best teaching tools around. Okay, so it's how people connect, it's how people grow. And it's one of the best ways to help people remember what it is that you're trying to tell them. It also has the power to reach across space and across time. So if you think about it, people who have been dead for years and years and years, decades, centuries, we're still reading and learning from their wisdom. Why? Because they told the story. They wrote it down. They told it to somebody else, and then that person remembered it and they told it to somebody else. Or if it was written, then that book gets passed down, it gets kept. So we're still learning from people like Einstein, Socrates, Mahatma Gandhi, all of the great kings and queens of the past and the great philosophers. So even after you leave this earth, if you have told stories, if you've taken the time to put your thoughts down onto paper, now you might not be Socrates or an Einstein or anything like that, but that doesn't matter. What you have to say is absolutely vitally important for somebody else to hear. So don't ever think that you're not worthy of telling your story. Don't ever think that it's not good enough, that someone else is going to do it for you. You are a unique human being with a unique set of circumstances, a unique set of past history, a unique set of present time moments, a unique set of future expectations. Okay? And all of that informs your story. And it's so vitally important for you to put it down on paper and to tell your story and to show up and be real and raw and vulnerable and authentic, not in the way that it's currently being bandied around on social media, actually real life authentic, for people to be able to connect with you on that vital human emotive level. Okay, because that is what people are buying. They're not buying what you do, they're buying you. Because there are 1,000 people who likely do what you do, millions even. But you are unique in the way that you deliver, in your wisdom, in your story. And the people who are going to want to buy from you, who are going to fall over themselves to buy from you, are those who can recognize you as their person, as having something similar to them. So they identify with you on that level. That's when the magic happens. Okay? So you have to excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough today, so apologies for that. So you might be leaving a legacy for people who are going to learn from you throughout the ages. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, my story's not important, I don't have anything interesting to say, I'm just this small person from this small town, what's happened to me has happened to so many people. No, it hasn't. It's happened uniquely and being experienced through your unique lens that makes you uniquely qualified, the only soul, the only individual on this planet who can tell that story. And that story is a gift to somebody else. If just one other person reads your story and it has an impact on them, it inspires them, it drives them to do something, what a gift to be able to give somebody. Never mind what it can do for business and change lives and things like that. Let's break it down to that unique, such a simple thing to give somebody. You can change lives. You will change lives just by being you, because you are a gift. So thank you. Thank you for being here and for being a gift. Now we just need to find the courage to get out there, get real, and get seen. And I know that is scary. It's one of the most scary things that you can do. But that's why I'm here, okay? To help you navigate this. And even though it's scary, I get it, I've been there, I still get scared. I got scared before coming on this talk. Okay, fear shows up all the time. But we need to do these things in spite of our fear. Because what we have to say and how we have to say it and how we show up and just be ourselves is so vitally important for your expression, expansion in this world. And also when you do it that way, when you tell your story this way, when you show up this way, you're giving somebody else permission to do the same. And there are so many people just sitting out there waiting for permission, going, can I really do that? Can I really say that? Because we've put ourselves in these boxes, these perceived boxes, and they're imaginary. That we have to act a certain way, we have to speak a certain way, we can't say this, we must say that. In order to be successful, we have to dress a certain way. We have to sound a certain way. We have to look a certain way. I've seen people in a wealth manifestation group that I'm in that are like, oh, I have this subconscious belief that I can't be wealthy because I have curly hair. Hey, Tina, all good, my lovely. You can catch up on the beginning. I'm just riffing on all things stories. So excited for you to have you join me. And I mean, I have curly hair, and I'm like, just the bizarre beliefs we tell ourselves are so interesting, but it's just an imaginary box that you have put yourself in, and you have the power to dissolve that box, or I like to say burn that box. I'm a Sagittarius, and I've got a double fire sign, so I always love burning stuff. Burn that box to the ground. That choice is yours. Only you are keeping yourself contained. Only you are keeping your story watered down and hidden and palatable to society. Well, I'm sorry, but real life is not palatable. Okay, it's bloody hard. It's bloody real. It gets messy. It gets violent. It's like a soap opera movie, right? Some of the stories you hear, most of the stories people have to tell, you can make movies out of that stuff because you're like, no way. Did that really happen? Tell those stories. Okay? That is what makes you stand out from the crowd. We need to discover your authentic message, and it's a excavation. Okay? It's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight, but each time you do it, each time you show up with this intention and this capacity, it gets easier. It's like going to the gym and lifting, I don't know, heavier and heavier weights, or running faster and faster on the treadmill, or all of those sorts of things. Yeah, Tina, sharing your story can feel so uncomfortable to start with. So I'll share a bit about my journey on that feelings of uncomfortable, and how I've came to be speaking to you here today, and how I've come to facilitate these stories. Is that I grew up in Africa, and there was a lot of political violence in my teens. So for me, being seen quite literally meant that I could die, like lose my life. People were being murdered. Okay, so I then had this belief, I integrated this belief that if I was seen, I would die. So when I came to doing my business online, and I started out as a virtual assistant, I then grew that to a virtual assistants and web development agency. I then added business coaching into that, and now I own my own publishing company. Okay, it's been a long journey, and there are varying stages of that, but at each stage I realized how important it was to show up and be myself and share my real story. But it's scary as hell, especially if you've got some trauma and things around this. And it doesn't even need to be trauma like mine. Okay, it can just be something, maybe someone said something to you in the preschool playground, and you started thinking, oh, I'm not good enough. I should just blend in with the crowd. It's not safe to be myself because, someone said something. We integrate all of these things. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a completely normal part of the human experience. So there's nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. And it's not bad. It just is. Okay? So how do we work past the sweaty palms, the shaking hands, the shaking voice, the panicking of I don't know what to say when that camera goes on or that mic goes on, and you have to, or not even live, right? Just doing a social media post or sending out a newsletter or writing a sales page. How do we find that courage to do that? Okay. Simon Sinek did a really good talk, and it's a TED talk, so if you want to look it up, it's called Why Apple Has Been So Successful, or something similar to that. If you Google it, you'll find it. And basically it's because they always speak from their why they do what they do. It's not what they offer. Okay, and this is the same with you. Like I said before, there are thousands, millions of people out there who do the exact same thing as you. Maybe a little bit differently, but the same thing. People are buying you. So the pale, stale, male way of marketing that we've been taught is, you should always talk about the customer first. Press on their pain points. Just throw up these fronts and really go talk about them and what they're going to gain and all of these sorts of things, right? I don't know about you, but there are so many of those posts on social media, for example. That's not going to stop me scrolling. I don't care. I don't want to read another post that says, do you XYZ, do you XYZ, then I have something to help you. Stock photo. Oh my God, no. Absolutely not. Okay? And I'm sure you're the same. You're probably sitting there laughing, going, oh yes, I do that. I've done that. I scroll. I get it. Okay? I used to be a classic for using stock photos. Okay, and stock photos are one of my pet hates because they are a diversion from you. We all know it's a stock photo. Yes, it's beautiful. Yes, it's a work of art, but it's not you. And I want to do business, and everybody wants to do business with someone that they feel like they know, that they can relate to, that they can trust. And that's not done through a stock photo. And it sure as hell is not going to stop the scroll. Okay? So we need to be always speaking from our why and not necessarily just about what we do. Now, you can do a combination of both, and I'm going to teach you the structure of the social media posts that can do that. And then you can just expand that out for newsletters and sales page copies and all the things. Okay? And we tell stories about what it is really like in your business, what it's like in your family, what you believe, what you like to do, and people will gravitate towards you. My cup is the coolest, isn't it? My cauldron, witch's brew. People will gravitate towards you, and you will stand out from the noise, right? Because you're a real person. So we can do this in social media, in your talks, on your blogs, everywhere. So I encourage you to take a scroll through your social media after this masterclass and have a look at what actually stands out to you. And you will see all of the stock photos and those bland posts that I just talked about. And have a feel into it and go, how does that make me feel? And you're just like, ugh. Like, it just makes me feel flat, uninspired, disconnected, marketed to in an icky way, just blunt, dead, soulless. And these women, no doubt, and men, have amazing offers and amazing skills, but the way they're communicating it is just making them get lost. And that's such a shame, but we're not going to let that happen to you, okay? Because you're going to find the courage and you're going to step up. So I want to see, and people want to see, show me a picture of your dog. Show me a picture of what's behind your desk. These are all stories, right? About who I am. Each of these things have a meaning to me. Show me a picture of your altar, your garden, your family members, your new lounge setup. I don't know, what you did on the weekend, okay? Because when you do that, I get to recognize myself in you. I get to learn to like you, know you, trust you. Okay, so by the time that I come to book a call with you or you launch your program, you no longer feel like a stranger to me. I'm like, oh yeah, she likes all the same stuff as me or some of the same things as me. This is the magic of showing up and telling your story and just being you on social media or in your business or wherever. Okay, this is full permission to show up in all your glory, warts and all, makeup, no makeup, bad hair day or not, slippers, no slippers, yoga pants, whatever it is. That's okay. Do not let anybody tell you that there is a certain way to show up for your people. Now, obviously, let's be sensible about this and go, okay, well, if I'm a coach and I'm marketing to C-level executives in the corporate banking industry, well, then you're obviously not going to show up in your, I don't know, baggy yoga shirt that says heavily meditated, right? But that's your choice for your clientele, okay? So think about it, about who you're marketing to and how you want to show up. But at every stage, it's so important to be real, okay? So let's talk about which platforms to use. So you've got your personal Facebook page and you've got your business Facebook page. And you need to be using both. Your personal page is for your stories because Facebook says we're not allowed to sell on our personal Facebook pages. And that's fine. Okay, we don't need to because what actually sells is you. So we show up there and we tell stories. We talk about our business. Okay, we can talk about who we are in a very structural and strategic way that grows and allows our clients to see who we are. And what this does is it rapidly accelerates that know, like, trust factor that it takes someone to buy from you. Okay? Because they already feel like they know you. They're like, oh yeah, she likes her coffee this way, or she has a 5-year-old daughter and she likes to grow her own food and she's passionate about the environment and she donates to charity on a regular basis. She's my type of woman. I like her. I want to be in her world. Every time I see her post on social media, I'm going to read what she says because she's my girl. She's my woman. She is part of my tribe. Okay? Now, some people won't like you for this. That's okay. Now, this is something that used to throw me into a right tiz was that people weren't gonna like me. Oh my god, some people aren't gonna like me. And you know what? Some of them don't. Some of them hate me. That's okay. It is very triggering. It's still very triggering. But this is where you need to tap into your unique toolbox, spiritual toolbox in general, support network, for when you are triggered in this situation and someone's like, trolls you or unsubscribes from your email list, or you have a sales call and they decide not to buy from you because your kid stuck stickers on your shirt, right? This actually happened. I read this the other day, that someone was on a sales call and her 5-year-old had stuck some stickers on her shirt and she had a sales call and had forgotten to take them off. And this client was like, oh yeah, I loved everything you had to say, but I'm not going to go ahead. And so she was like, oh, okay, no problem. How come? And she said, oh, because I just feel like the stickers on your shirt are unprofessional. Oh my God. Would you even really want to work with somebody like that? No, hell no is the answer to that. You know why? Because they are going to be a nightmare client. Anyone who cannot accept you for who you are and the lifestyle that goes on around you, they're not for you. They are not for you. And I know that especially when you're first starting out in business, this can be really scary because you're like, if I say no to this money, if I say no to this client, where's my income coming from? I don't have any more sales calls booked in this week. What's going to happen? I'm failing at business. And we can start all these stories in our head, right? Let me tell you right now, because I've been there, it is not worth it. No amount of money in the world is worth it because they turn out to be a nightmare client. You end up doing way more work for much less pay. You end up feeling stressed out, resentful, angry, all of the things. And it's not a good experience for your client either. Just don't do it. Do not accept misaligned clients into your world. Do not let them in. There will be someone else out there for them. Okay, so we did a little bit of a tangent there. Sorry. So yeah, if you're a people pleaser like me, it's a really big hurdle to overcome. And it does get easier. It's just allow yourself that space for grace to move past all of these things. Now, these other stories that come up in your head, because everything, your reality is just a story you're telling yourself. Everything that you experience is just a story that you're telling yourself based on past experiences, your current situation, and your future expectations. And the good news about this is we can cross out that story and write a new one whenever we want. Whenever we want. It's a choice. Now, I'm not saying to skip past your feelings and the fear and all of that. No way. I want you to sit in that fear. I want you to sit in that story and explore it, excavate it. What is actually going on for me here? Why is this fear coming up? Is it because Johnny in school told me that I wasn't good enough to be the lead in the school play? And now I think that I'm not good enough to speak or show up or tell my story or be in that leadership position. Sit with it, deploy your skill set, whatever that looks like to you, to work through it, whether that's spending time in nature, journaling, having time out with friends, going for a walk, whatever it is. Give yourself the time, okay? So you're saying to yourself, what if someone thinks what if someone thinks, oh my God, she's crazy? What if people don't like what I have to say? All of this is a journey in itself. What if my parents see this and they judge me for saying X, Y, and Z? My dad still calls me. He's like, oh my God, you swore on social media? You can't do that. That's so unprofessional. I'm like, Dad, I swear in everyday life. I can't not show up and be me. That's who I am. And he calls me all the time. He's like, I can't believe you said that. You're such a disappointment. He doesn't mean it, of course, but he's like, he thinks he's helping me. So, you will get this sort of thing. It's like, oh, thank you very much for your opinion. Your unasked for opinion. Thank you very much. And then you just let it wash away. Okay. And if it gets to you, that's when you use your toolkit. Okay. So none of this is going to happen overnight. I don't expect you to just, get off this masterclass and go live and just tell your deepest, darkest, rawest, vulnerable secrets all over the internet, okay, with photos of yourself. That's not what I'm asking you to do. Start small. Maybe do a story every 3 days. And, Tina says she doesn't swear on social media very often, but she swears often at home. Yeah, and you know what? I'm also not saying that you have to show up and swear on social media if that's what you do at home. But if you are in mid-flow conversation and you're passionate about what you're doing, like you can tell when I speak, I get all passionate, and a swear word pops out, don't freak out. That's just part of who you are. Okay? If you say this is also a big fear. I always say That's okay. That's who you are. Everyone, hey Amy beautiful, my pleasure. That's how some of our brains communicate verbally when we are processing something. That's okay. Now, lots of speaking coaches and loads of people out there will say saying is not okay. I say bullshit to that. You are exactly perfect how you are. Now, if you wanted to go and do professional speaking and you wanted to hire a professional speaking coach and all that other stuff, and they want to try and box you into this thing and you're okay with that, by all means, go for it. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But do not let the fact that you say or you know what I mean or you swear stop you from showing up. Okay? It's just real life. I'm also not telling you to go and spray your dirty laundry as in, your in it dirty emotional stuff all over Facebook when you're in it. Okay? So, for example, if you've just had a massive fight with your husband, okay, and you're like fresh seething, you're like, this guy's an idiot. I hate him. That's it. Like, how could he do this to me? He doesn't get me. I'm not saying immediately go and do a live and be like, my husband's a dickhead. No, that's not what we do. So we give ourselves space to work through it, and then we nurture that relationship. We do whatever it is that we have to do to get ourselves to that more understanding, calmer, nurturing space. And then we look back on it and we go, what lessons were there for me? What lessons are there for my audience? And you can go and share your story then without naming, blaming, that emotive language, any of that kind of things when you're in it, because you've given yourself space for grace. You've given yourself time to process. Okay? So let's talk about the social media post story and the structure of it and how you can really create impact and stop the scroll with them. So, when you're reading a book or an article or a newspaper thing, and there's the last paragraph or the second last paragraph, and there's usually like a punchy line that drives it home, that kind of like puts a little bow on it, knocks you between the eyes. That is the line that I want you to pull out of your story and put right at the top. Kind of like a headline, okay? So you've got your punchy headline at the top that stops the scroll and makes people want to read more. Moving on after that, start with a story about you. Now, this sounds super counterintuitive, right? To everything that we've been taught. Don't talk about yourself. People will think you're egoic. People will think you're up yourself. People will think that you think that you're better than them. People won't like what I have to say. That's not how you market. We need to talk about the client all the time. That's not true. Sometimes, yes, you know, we can kind of juggle it a little bit, combine it a little bit, but there's always got to be an element of you, your personality, who you are. Okay. Now, just to skip outside the Facebook post for just a second, because this is just coming in now, is that I saw a business name. Someone followed me on social media the other day, and he's a copywriter. Okay, so he writes stuff for other people. His business name was licensed to Quill as in pen, and his website was all like James Bondy, right? Like burn after reading, and all of these quirky puns and like personality, and you know, there's images of him dressed as like James Bond and things like that. And I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. I don't even care how much his services are. I want to buy from him. Why? Because I recognize the fact that I love a good play on words. I love it when people are very clever with their writing. I love it when people show their personality, right? And so does everybody else. So I was able to recognize myself. He rapidly accelerated that like factor for me. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. In fact, I'm telling you guys about it. I told some other people about it the other day, right? I've never actually even spoken to this guy. He just followed me on social media. That's how good the power of epic storytelling and showing your personality in everything that you do is so important. It will make you stand out. Now, all the other copywriters, are they good at what they do? Absolutely they are. They're amazing at what they do, but they've all got the same pretty website, the same, you know, headshots. You know, all the same color palette, same similar copy. Yeah, that makes my choice really difficult. And so the likelihood of me doing anything because my choice is being made difficult is pretty much zero. I'm just going to procrastinate on that choice a little bit more. But then someone like Licensed to Quill drops into my world and I'm like, oh my God, that is the only copywriter I want to work with. Do you see the power of this? Anyway, back to the structure. So we've got our punchy headline of our social media post. Then we've got the story about you. Obviously, all of this has to be relevant to the same story or the same point you're trying to get across, right? So you tell a bit of a story. You can then do the call to action, right? And then a photo, not a stock photo. For the love of God, please do not use a stock photo. I never want to see another stock photo on your stuff again. Okay? Now, this is the good thing. The photo you use doesn't necessarily have to be relevant to the point you're making. Okay? It just has to be something that lets me have a glimpse into you and your world. Let us in. Stop throwing up these like social media posts and these other photos and going, oh no, look over here. Don't look at me. Oh, here's a glimpse of me. Oh no. Oh, no. Oh, here I am. Oh no, wait. Now I'm scared again. No, show up. People are either going to love you or going to hate you or somewhere in between. That is okay. You're not going to die, I promise. Okay? So, let's give an example of a social media post. It's probably better if you just, go and look on my stuff, okay? Go and look on my page and have a look at the way that I've structured the stories. But let's give an example. Amy, can you put something in the comments about a story that you want to tell, maybe, or a point that you're going to teach on? I'll just give her a sec to do that. whilst we do that, it's not the important people, the people who are meant to do business with you, the people who are going to be amazing soul aligned clients. They are going to love you for it. And that's what we want. We want people to self-weed. Okay, I call it self-weeding. When someone comes onto your website or your socials or your YouTube or attends a masterclass, you want to not even waste your time with a sales call or adding somebody to your email list who isn't your person. So when they see you showing up in this way and you repel them, strong word, but that's what we want to do, repel them, they're not even entering into your world, which means they're not going to be a drain on your energy. Okay, so let's use Amy's point here of not trying to fit in. Okay, this is what she's wanting to help women become more authentic, not trying to fit in. Beautiful, such a perfect thing. So I'm going to share a story with you about something, and this is on the spot, you guys. This is how easy it can be. I do not want you spending 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, mulling over what story you're going to tell. Give yourself 10 minutes, set a timer on the old phone, and write that story and press send. Okay, don't reread it, don't edit the soul out of it, no. Okay, so let me give you an example. Not trying to fit in. Okay. Trying to fit in is the ultimate disservice to your client. Punchy headline. Growing up in Africa, I was a child who was so comfortable in her own uniqueness. I didn't care about fitting in. I was the child who ran around barefoot, who would rather take a book to a party, who would climb trees, speak to animals, ride horses, and was genuinely just being happy being myself. But as I grew up, I started to notice that I was different from everybody else. That most people my age weren't taking books to parties. They were kissing boys and they were drinking and they were playing spin the bottle and these sorts of things. And I started to realize that I didn't fit in. I was still okay with that until my parents said to me one day, "Why don't you leave the book at home?" And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Because, you just need to try and fit in a little bit more. People think you're a little bit weird. Other kids your age are, going out and partying, and maybe you should try and fit in a bit more." That to me was like a slap in the face. I questioned everything that I knew about myself. And then when I moved to Australia, I started to get bullied at high school because I was different. I didn't fit in. I was still doing these things, and people thought I was weird. And I am weird. But people thought I was weird. In that age, I wanted to start to fit in. That's just a natural human progression. It's a biological thing to want to fit in with the crowd. And so when we were forced to flee Africa and move to Australia, I very consciously remember writing in my diary, I am going to be a person that everybody likes. And that's what I became. I put on this mask. I put on this persona. I became a chameleon, an actress. And I became this person that I didn't even recognize, but that everybody liked. I had a foreign accent, so I was exotic. All the boys started to like me. I had my first kiss at, I think, 16. I started to go out and drink a lot. I was in the popular group at school. But years later, what that resulted in, after I started climbing the corporate ladder, trying to fit in about what a successful life society looks like, going to uni, getting the job, buying the house, buying the car, I had all of that. At the age of 23, I was earning 6 figures. But on the inside, I was deeply unhappy. Resulted in a massive burnout. Huge burnout, and being diagnosed with PTSD, chronic depression, and major anxiety. I hit my rock bottom. I quit my high-flying corporate job, and I got another job, which I was then made redundant from a week before I found out I was pregnant. That was the point for me where I decided that I didn't want to fit in. that I wasn't made to fit in, that human beings aren't made to fit into a box. We cannot be boxed. We should not be boxed. That was my ultimate turning point. So my question to you is, are you going to let somebody else tell you how to live your life just so that you can feel comfortable and fit in? Or are you ready for your next level of expansion? If you are ready for your next level expansion, I invite you to come and join me inside my 30-day challenge, Expand into Your Fullest Potential. Link here. So that is just like a really rough riff, off-the-cuff post that I would post on my social media if I had a 30-day challenge like that. I just made that up. Okay, so do you see how we had punchy headline, personal story, quite real and in your face, like PTSD, redundancy, chronic depression, major anxiety, political violence. I weaved all of that in there. Okay. And then for the photo, and then I had my call to action. If you recognize yourself in this and you don't want to play there anymore, this is the program for you. Link here. That type of post makes all the difference. And then the photo for that could be just a photo of me sitting at my desk. It could be a photo of me enjoying time with my daughter. It could be a photo of me speaking at a conference. It could be a photo of me as a kid. Anything. It could be a photo of a beautiful flower that you took on your walk. Okay. So Amy is asking, how do you decide what stories to share? Everything and anything that is relevant to a point that you're trying to make. Or just show somebody who you are. So you'll notice that a lot of my stories that I tell everywhere are not necessarily related to book writing, publishing, or marketing. Okay? They could just be about something that's important to me, that I stand for, that I value, that I believe in. Those types of stories are important because it helps you stand out from the crowd. People don't want to read about your business all the time. Your business is amazing, but we don't want to read about your business all the time. We want to read about you and get to know you. And by doing those sorts of posts, we go, she's my woman, right? We also want to read about your business posts and, you know, those calls to action and things, but not every post has a call to action. Let me share that with you as well. Not every story you share has to be designed to sell. In fact, they shouldn't be. It should be 80% storytelling or story writing, because they're two different things, and 20% sales. Okay. So does that answer your question, Amy? How do you decide what stories to share? And let me tell you now, there are 300 at least stories in every day. From the most mundane things, you can turn into a story. Use your imagination. Tap into that imaginative mind that you had as a child. All of those magical things that you thought up. You still have that skill in there. Start to excavate it. Okay. So, what else can I tell you? So many things. I could go on for hours. Yeah, Amy saying there's entrepreneurs she knows nothing about because they only talk about their business. Boring. Like nobody, no. They might be really good at what they do. But no. So how do we excavate the 300 stories or so every day? There are a number of ways that you can do this, but what I like to do is I'm a busy mum to a 5-year-old who just does not sit still. So when I'm out and about, or bath time, or on the school run, or all of those sorts of things where it's really inconvenient for me to stop and write something down, I will just voice it into my phone, or, you know, tell a story about lady on the street who smiled at you. You know, just give you, you know, some sort of trigger for you to remember. Or at the beginning of the day, you can sit down and you can have a notebook and you can say, what stories do I need to tell today? What do my people need to hear from me today? How do I need to show up today? What is coming through me to tell today? And sometimes something might come through and you're like, what? I can't tell that. Yeah, you can. Of course you can. And it might have nothing to do with your business. Okay? But it's got something to do with you, and that's important. Because people are not buying what you do, they're buying you. Okay? Or you could do it in the evening. You know, sit down as you're getting into bed or just before you get into bed with a nice cup of tea and write down 3 things that you experienced today. Oh, my daughter told me that I was the best mummy in the world. That's a story. I found a feather on the ground and it reminded me of that time that X, Y, and Z. That's a story. I witnessed an act of kindness in front of me at the supermarket today. That's a story. Anything can be turned into a story. That song you heard on the radio, that smell you smelled through the open window. That time you dropped all your clean laundry onto the dusty ground. All of these are stories. Become the storyteller. Become the sacred storyteller and the author of your own life. This is what's going to give you the edge, guys. This is the secret sauce to marketing. You can have the best strategy, the best marketing, funnel in the world. But unless you're throwing a lot of money behind paid ads and experts and lead gen people, what's going to make you stand out is this. Your unique storytelling flair. Putting yourself into your business. Okay, so let's talk about books. Most people on earth would love to write a book one day, but very few actually do it. Why? Because they build it up in their head that either A, it's this huge, overwhelming, big thing that they can't possibly do, or B, they're scared. And then these safe excuses come up. Oh, I don't have enough time. When I hit 6 figures, I will write the book. When I hit 7 figures, I will write the book. When my child leaves home, I'll write the book. When I retire, I'll write the book. When I get my dream job, I'll write the book. No, the time is right now. Right now. And if you work with me in the future, if you decide to, you can have somebody teach you a way to get your story out of here and out of here into 3D reality in a way that fits in with your lifestyle. Now, I know we're all busy entrepreneurs, right? I don't want you to have to, take 2 months off to go and sit in a cabin in the woods to birth your book. It doesn't have to be that way unless you want it to be. Okay? It can be snatching a half hour in the morning before the school run. It can be voice talking your book into your headphones as you do your morning run or your walk. And then piecing it together. There is a way that works for you, because as far as I'm aware, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. And if you're letting fear stand in the way, if you're letting your safe excuses show up and take over and be in the driver's seat, your story may never get told, and that is a tragedy. Even if it's a memoir to leave a legacy for your family and has nothing to do with your business, I know that I would have wanted to read memoirs by my grandparents and their parents before them, but none of them bothered to write it down. That's a tragedy. Part of the business that I'm launching soon is going to be going into old age homes and providing ghostwriters for people, elderly people who are wanting to write their stories and have their books published with photos of them and them on the front cover and everything, to leave a legacy for their family, to tell their story. Storytelling isn't just about business, guys. This is heartfelt, human connection. So important. such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the writing process itself is transformational. And this is something as well that many people don't come into the book writing process thinking. They come from this very logical kind of place, like, oh yeah, I'm going to write a book and it's going to be chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. And yes, we do that. That's important. But what they underestimate is the healing power and transformational process of writing. I don't have words for it. I don't know what happens, but there is magic in the process. And every single person who has ever written with me has experienced this magic. And it not only allows you to step up and out and expand further in your self-confidence and your purpose here in the world and what it is that you like to do, it's in your personal life and your business life. And it has a ripple effect. It's just beautiful to watch. Tina wants to write a book. Yeah, Tina. Woohoo! Okay, so, and there are many different types of books, okay? You've got your memoirs, you've got your fiction, you've got your non-fiction, you've got your business books, you've got your lead magnet books, okay? Your first book needs to have 222 pages. I love it. Get specific. Absolutely, you can definitely do that. You've got your self-help books, you've got your business books, and everyone publishes for a different reason, but they've all got the same structure. It's the learnings, it's a journey, okay? They're getting to know you, your why you're writing, your learnings, the results, and the ending. Okay, so let's talk about the lead magnet book as an example, okay? Because I've got one here to show you. Actually, I just moved it this morning so I could put my leopard spirit animal up here. Give me a sec. Okay, so the lead magnet book tends to be quite a small book. So you can see that it's little bit little. How many pages in this one? Let's have a quick look. 115, okay, pages in this little book, but it's got a beautiful cover, you know, back. This is a lead magnet book from one of my mentors, okay? It's called How to Start a Six-Figure Publishing Company, right? And the purpose of this book is to allow her ideal client to get enough value. Hey, Cindy, you can watch a replay, love. It's no problem at all. For her people to get enough value out of this in order to then want to buy her course. Now, some fears that may come up about writing a lead magnet book is, what if I give too much away and people won't want to buy the course? I have never seen that happen. People will still buy the course, okay? This is also the magical things about books. People who read books love books. There's just something about books, okay? So even if they've bought the book and you've given, let's say, a lot of module 1 away in your book, they're still going to buy the course. It's just human nature. Okay, so the kind of structure of it, let's talk about the structure. So the beginning is really letting people get to know her, okay? Why she does what she does, and she helps people start their own publishing company, women start their own publishing company. So the beginning of the book is all about why are female publishing houses so important? Who is she and why does she do this work? Why is this so important to her? Okay, it then goes on to have a couple of different chapters with like how to make 6 figures from your publishing company in the first year, and she gives a little bit of a write-up about that, okay? And I know that these are some of her modules in her course, right? Why? Because I've done the course. And you know, then she gives a link at the end to a blog post that she's written on the same topic that gives further information. So she's got a couple of chapters there. Then she's got testimonials from people who have been through her course, as you know, I think she's got about, I don't know, 10 in here, quite a few, about people who've done her course, right? Then she's got an FAQ section at the back. And then she's got her professional bio. Okay, so it doesn't have to be this big complicated thing. And the chances that you are sitting on content for 3 or 4 books that you could publish right away are huge. Okay, so a really smart way to repurpose your content and use it as a lead magnet to drive people to your courses, your membership, your one-on-one coaching programs, whatever it is. And what you're also doing is claiming real estate on Amazon. okay, just as an example. And Amazon is one of the largest search engines in the world. So just like you've got space on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever, all the things, why would you not grab your space and claim your space as an author on one of the biggest search engines in the world, on Amazon? Okay, and they're so easy to create. You take your course content, you turn it into a book. You create a podcast and you turn it into a book. Okay, you could create a book from your Facebook group content that you've got in there. You could create a book from your blogs. Okay, so it doesn't have to be this big complicated thing. Okay, we don't want it to feel hard, because the minute it starts to feel hard, you're choking the creativity out of your message, and we definitely don't want that. Yeah, Amy, lead magnet books are amazing. I'm actually going to be releasing a course very shortly on how to do this, so step by step, and then obviously doing all the publishing for you, cover design, editing, formatting, all that sort of thing. So super excited to be delivering that very, very soon. So what else can I tell you? We've already talked about the structure of it. Now, the women in here are creating their signature programs. Yes, you can absolutely turn them into a lead magnet book. And also, let me tell you what books can also do for you. Not only can they be lead magnets for your business, you can take them to your speaking events. You can use them, I absolutely will, Amy. You can use them to get featured on podcasts. You can use them to get speaking events. You can use them to become the leading expert in your field. Why? Because as soon as someone sees author in a professional biography, this psychological thing happens and somebody immediately thinks that you are legitimate, that you're high up in your field, that you're a leading expert, and you are, right? That's why you're here. So claim it, claim that spot. And people who organize speaking events, people who have podcasts and things like that, love authors, because authors have been forced to organize their thoughts in a way that really hits home with the reader or the listener, which makes them great speakers. So if you are considering writing, consider it practice towards your speaking career if that's something that you want to add in. Okay. Right. Let's talk about, maybe some of you don't want to write your solo book, or you're not ready to write your solo book. What about a multi-author book project? Okay. So you may have seen loads of these happening. There seems to be a huge rise in them at the moment. The beautiful Amy is actually writing in a multi-author book project with me at the moment. A multi-author book project is such a beautiful stepping stone towards writing your own solo book, or to just become a published author if that's what you want to do. I have loads of women come into these programs that are like, oh, I'm not a writer. I'm not an author. I can't write, but I do know I have a story to share. Well, those women usually end up writing with me again. And then they end up doing a solo book, because everybody is an author. Everybody is a storyteller. It's part of being human. Okay? Yeah, like Amy's saying, whenever she sees someone as an author, she's automatically like, yeah, that's impressive. Because it is. Right? 1% of the population becomes an author. 1%. Claim that spot. Are you going to be one of the 1%? And all it takes is the courage to show up and tell your story. And you can start practicing that on your social media, on your newsletters, on your podcast talks, all of the things. Right, multi-author books. So like I said, they're a beautiful stepping stone because you only have to write one chapter. And then you get your professional biography again. What also a beautiful thing about this is that you get to tap into the collective. So there's usually, in my books, I have 20. In other companies, they have different, amounts. I like to have 20. I've just found it's a really nice number for everybody. You get to tap into the networks of 19 other like-minded people. So you've got your email list, your social following, all of that, but then you've got 19 others. Right? What an amazing opportunity. So writing in a multi-author book project with a container of like-minded people and guidance at every step of the way is a really nice entry level to becoming an author, or towards writing your solo book, or to just maybe dip that toe in the water and to just, yeah, you are one of the 1%, Amy. We've totally got this. February 2022, you are going to be a international best-selling author. #1 international best-selling author. Congratulations to you, because I'm going to make that happen. We are going to make that happen. Okay, so I hope that you have found this masterclass helpful. I mean, like I said, I could go on for hours and hours about this sort of thing. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to send me a message, pop it here in the group and tag me, ask Amy to ask me, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you want to come and hang out with me on social media, please do. I will pop my links in here if that's okay with Amy. Come and hang out with me. Come into my world. Come and tell your stories with me. Okay? I can't wait to see you shine and stand out on social media and in your business, because you are worthy. Your story and your experiences need to be told. Somebody out there is waiting for you to speak, to write, to show up, to harness that courage and be brave enough to tell your story and be yourself. Because there's no one quite as unique and special and qualified as you to do that. So thank you so much for having me, everybody. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy to speak with you today. And I hope to see you all shining so, so brightly on social media and out there in the world. Lots of love. Bye.